tight, dim the streets in moonlight bright. We dissect the cinematic art, real by real we pull apart.
Hello and welcome to Real Talk, the podcast where we take a closer look at the films that make us laugh, scratch our heads, and sometimes wonder just what in the world did we just watch. I'm your host Josh, and we're kicking off a brand new season today that's all about embracing the wild, the absurd, and the iconic. Now, if you've been with us for a while, you know we've explored everything from psychological horror to the whimsical world of Tim Burton. But this season we're diving into something a little different. This time we're talking about the films that I've just been watching recently. Films that might be a little offbeat, a little ridiculous, but are absolutely unforgettable in their own right. We've got sharks and tornadoes, classic musicals, off-the-wall comedies, and even a few creature features. It's a mixed bag of everything that makes cinema such a blast. From the cult classics that make you laugh until you cry to films that are so weird they're practically in a genre of their own. So buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. Welcome to the new season of Real Talk, and let's get this show on the road. Hey, need a boost without the crash? Head over to dubby.gg, that's dubby.gg, for all your energy drink needs. No sugar, no fillers, just clean focus and serious flavor. And here's the kicker. Use the code REALREAL, REALREEL, at checkout and score 10% off your order. That's REALREAL, one word, for 10% off at dubby.gg. Fuel up, stay sharp, keep it real. Looking for chills that crawl up your spine and reviews that cut deeper than a butcher's blade? Welcome to Real Talk Horror Edition, where classic slashers, indie creepers, and cult nightmares are dissected with a bloody passion. Whether you're into slow burns or splatterfests, we've got the guts, the gore, and the geek out. So dim the lights, press play, and let your darkest curiosities run wild. Real Talk Horror Edition, where horror lives and breathes. Real horror, real talk. Available anywhere you get your podcasts. All right, folks, let's get right into it. You know, every now and then, we need to take a break from the usual. So many films out there are revered as classics for all the right reasons. They've got deep meaning, incredible direction, or unforgettable performances. And then there's the other side of the spectrum. These are films that are so off the wall, so unexpected that they kind of become classics in their own right, just for how different they really are. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know I love digging into films that really stick with you. And this season, we're covering a series of movies that I've been watching lately. And let me tell you, it's a pretty wild ride from start to finish. We've got some movies that make you laugh, cringe, and maybe question the sanity of those that made them. But here's the thing. Sometimes the best films aren't the ones that follow all the rules. Sometimes it's the weird ones, the ones that take chances or just go way off the rails that end up being the most memorable. So that's what we're diving into with this season. It's a collection of films that don't just sit in one box. These are the movies that have earned their place in pop culture, whether they're ridiculous, beloved, or just so out there you can't help but admire what they were going for. Now, I know what you're probably wondering. Josh, what exactly are we in for this season? Well, let me give you a little preview of what's coming up. It's going to be everything from tornadoes full of sharks to classics that have stood the test of time. And I really do not think you're going to want to miss it. First up, we've got 2013's Sharknado, a sort of B-movie masterpiece that doesn't try to be anything more than what it is. A storm of sharks tearing through Los Angeles. It's absurd, it's outrageous, and honestly, it's just the kind of ridiculous fun we need to kick things off. I'm not even going to pretend it's highbrow storytelling. This is pure popcorn cinema, and that's all it ever tried to be. You might think a movie about tornadoes filled with sharks is just too much. But trust me, I think you'll still be glued to the screen. It's got kind of that so bad it's good charm. And sometimes that's just what the doctor ordered, right? And then we're going to flip the script and go back to 1965 with The Sound of Music. Yes, I'm talking about that iconic Rodgers and Hammerstein musical with Julie Andrews twirling on the mountaintop and singing "The Hills Are Alive." And you might be asking, what does this have to do with sharks or absurd B movies? Well, here's the thing. This movie is as wholesome as they come, but it's also one of those films that you can't help but admire for its timeless charm. It's a feel-good classic, and we're diving into why it's still a cultural touchstone for so many people. And hey, you can't forget the songs. Who doesn't find themselves humming Do, Re, Mi once in a while? But just when you think you figured out where the season's going, we're going to hit you with something completely unexpected. 2007's Hot Fuzz. I'm talking about British action comedy from Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, packed with brilliant wit and perfectly timed action. It's one of those films that takes the buddy cop genre and flips it on its head while still delivering some hilarious performances and some pretty sharp satire. If you haven't seen it yet, prepare yourself for rapid-fire jokes and intricate plot twists, and one of the more quotable scripts in modern comedy. And that's just the beginning, because we've got 1959's Plan 9 from Outer Space coming up. You know, that Ed Wood movie that is so famously awful, yet somehow captivating because of its earnestness. It's a train wreck, but it's our train wreck, and we're going to talk about what makes it so much fun to watch, even if it doesn't follow a single solitary rule of good filmmaking. It's beyond so bad it's good. It's so bad, you love it. Then we're going to go into the psychological horror realm with 2019's The Lighthouse, a film that's not only visually stunning, but it'll leave your mind spinning for days. And if you like movies that make you think and haunt you in the best way, this one's for you. It's raw and atmospheric and ultimately creepy. So buckle up, because this season is all about movies that are just themselves. They might be weird, they might be iconic, and they might be complete disasters. But they all have that one thing in common. They're unforgettable. So stick with me through the season, because trust me, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. All right, well, we're not even halfway through the list yet, and things are already pretty wild. If you're still with me, then you're in for a heck of a ride. So let's dive into a few more films that are sure to stick with you. Next up is 1980's Airplane. So drop whatever you're doing, watch it now. Seriously, go do it. I'll wait. This film is the parody masterpiece, and it's almost impossible to talk about comedy without mentioning it. From the slapstick humor to the relentless rapid-fire jokes, Airplane is a movie that doesn't just throw punches at you, it bombards you. It's like the comedy version of an action movie, just without all the explosions and, well, action, really. But it's got every kind of humor you can imagine, from witty one-liners to visual gags and slapstick, and it never lets up. It's a movie that operates at full throttle every single second. I mean, who can forget Leslie Nielsen, "I am serious, and don't call me Shirley." And that line is worth the price of admission. But it's not just the jokes that make it great. It's the sheer energy and commitment to absurdity that keeps it timeless. It's comedy at its finest. Next, we'll get a little bit weirder. 1986's Howard the Duck. This is one of those movies that's campy, strange, and honestly feels like it belongs in its own genre. Is it a superhero movie? Is it a comedy? A fantasy film? Honestly, I don't even know, and that's probably what makes it fascinating. It is based on a Marvel Comics character. Howard the Duck takes us into a world where a talking duck from another planet ends up here on Earth. He fights evil and navigates a world that clearly wasn't prepared for him. The film itself is like this awkward time capsule of the 80s with wild special effects, some really bizarre characters, and dialogue that, well, you just need to see it. It's unintentionally hilarious, and it was not a box office hit. It had enough charm to really make it a cult classic. It's definitely one of those movies that needs to be seen to truly be believed. And then we'll lighten things up with another classic, 1952's Singin' in the Rain. If you're in the mood for a feel-good film, this is the one. It's everything you want in a movie about Hollywood. It's got show-stopping musical numbers, dazzling choreography, and an energy that's just downright infectious. Plus, let's be real, you've heard Singin' in the Rain, the song, at least once in your life, and it's impossible to hear that song and not think of Gene Kelly dancing in the rain with that smile on his face. That scene alone is iconic, and it's just one of many reasons this movie is a cornerstone of musical cinema. But it's more than just catchy tunes. It's a love letter to the golden age of Hollywood, and it's got that warm, fuzzy feeling that makes you want to watch it again and again. And trust me, I think you'll be humming the tunes for days. Now, after that cheerful detour, we're going to dive right back into something darker. 1999's The Blair Witch Project. The found footage horror really found its legs with this one, and it's hard to overstate just how influential this film was. It completely changed the landscape of horror by showing us that you don't need big budgets or fancy special effects to create something terrifying, because it's all about atmosphere, tension, and that unknown. And Blair Witch was so effective because of how simple it was. The whole film is just the three kids finding themselves wandering through the woods trying to find this infamous Blair Witch. But the real horror here is what you don't see. It's the subtle things that mess with your mind, the sounds in the dark, the shaking camera, the feeling of being lost in the woods. It's minimalist, and that's what makes it all the more terrifying. It proves that sometimes less really is more. And then we've got 1995's Congo. And I can't even begin to describe just how absurd and wonderfully nonsensical this movie is. You've got killer gorillas, bizarre plot twists, a diamond heist, and some truly outrageous characters. And not to mention Bruce Campbell shows up, and who doesn't love Bruce Campbell? It's like someone threw a bunch of random genres into a blender and hit frappe. And the thing is, it's a lot of fun. It never takes itself seriously, and that makes it a blast. It's firmly got its tongue in cheek. It's one of those movies where you're constantly asking, wait, what just happened? But at the same time, you can't look away. We'll dive into why it is worth visiting and just how much enjoyment you can get from how ridiculous it is. Speaking of ridiculous, if you're into creature features, one of my favorites, 1990's Tremors, is next. And I don't care how many times you've seen it, there's just something so charming about a movie where giant underground worms terrorize a small town. It's this perfect mix of humor, action, over-the-top creatures, and it really has that perfect 90s vibe. You got the small town feel, but with a monster movie twist. And let's be real, Kevin Bacon in a movie about giant worms? That alone should get you on board. And for you horror fans, Victor Wong, come on, it's amazing. It's one of those cult classics that I'm not sure it quite gets the credit it deserves. I don't know anybody who doesn't like it to some degree, but it's an absolute must-watch, especially for anyone who loves a good creature feature with a side of really good tongue-in-cheek humor. And then we'll wrap up the season with a movie that's just as bizarre as it is hilarious, with 2002's Kung Pao Enter the Fist. It's this martial arts parody that is just so over the top, it's almost impossible to describe. It takes an old, cheesy kung fu movie and redubs it with new dialogue. And let me tell you, it is out of control in the best possible way. It's a movie that it knows exactly what it is and just goes for it. So if you're into zany, off-the-wall humor, then this is definitely the movie for you. It's ridiculous, it's weird, and it's a perfect note to end kind of a zany-ish season of Real Talk. So that's the lineup for this season, folks. I am seriously pumped to break each of these films down with you, whether they're beloved classics, guilty pleasures, or they just missed the mark. We're going to dive deep into what it makes them stand out, what might make them special, why they deserve a place in film history, why they should be on your watch list, or what just went wrong with some of them. And with that, that's going to wrap up today's intro episode of Real Talk. I am excited for you to join me on this wild ride through the movies that I've been watching lately, from the weird to the wonderful. But before you go, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single episode of the season. Trust me, you're going to want to be here because these crazy films are lined up and ready to go. You're not going to want to miss it. And as you know, you can find Real Talk wherever you listen to podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we're even on YouTube, or wherever you're tuning in from now. And while you're there, leave me a review. Your feedback, it really helps keep the conversation going, and I just love hearing from all of you. So next week, we'll kick it off with the ultimate absurdity, Sharknado. And I don't think if you haven't seen it, you just don't understand how ridiculous this one gets. And I'm excited to talk about it with you. Come find me on all the socials, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky at Real Talk, X at Real Talk Pod, and email therealrealtalk@gmail.com. Just drop me a line, say hi, let me know what you're watching or what you think we should talk about next on the show. But until next time, keep watching, keep loving, and keep those reels rolling. We'll talk to you soon.
Underneath the silver screen, gleam, talking reels and all their schemes. Dusty scenes and dreams unfold, stories told in shadows bold. Gritty plots and whispers tight, dim the streets in moonlight bright. We dissect the cinematic art, real by real we pull apart. The real talk where voices play with velvet words and starlit sway, reviewing tales both light and dark, classic films that leave a mark. Dive deep